I'd like to call this meeting to order, and if we take a moment for silent prayer or reflection. Amen. Terry?
Yes. Artiana Alia,
Here.
Eric Horan,
Here.
Kyle Niederman,
Here.
Lisa Ramon,
Here.
John Maston.
Here. If you'll stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have any calls for executive sessions?
No, we do not.
And next we'll do our call to the public.
No, we have nothing.
Don't have any. I will let you know when we get to recognitions and presentations that Carol Nowakowski did send me an email earlier explaining that she wouldn't be able to be here tonight. So I will go to Aggie.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board. We do have a special guest presentation. Ricardo Deonda from Arizona Youth Partnership is here tonight to make you all aware of what her organization and agency can bring to support our district, our families, especially now in our times of need as we're moving forward. Good evening.
Thank you, Aggie. So I prepared a PowerPoint. Should put that up for you. I just want to say thank you for having me here tonight. I'm super excited to speak. Okay, so like Aggie said, my name is Ricardo Deonda, and I'm a prevention coordinator here in Lake Havasu City, Arizona. Just to talk a little bit about Arizona Youth Partnership. So we're a nonprofit organization that's located across the entire state of Arizona. Recently, we received a 5-year grant from SAMHSA. So for those of you that don't know, SAMHSA is the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration. So what this grant does is it focuses on substance use and mental health and the impact it has on our communities. So what we did is we hired an epidemiologist to come in, and she actually surveyed all of Mojave County. But specifically for Lake Havasu, she pulled data, and we had a community readiness survey to kind of see where we were as a community. So where we fell was right around a stage 3 across the board. So what that means is our readiness was at a vague awareness. So of either the issue itself, the issue itself or the resources available around substance use and mental illness. So what we really wanted to do at Arizona Youth Partnership is we put a strategic plan together with that data that she pulled, and it really shows us how are we gonna fill those gaps? What resources are we gonna bring to the community to really get that readiness up a little bit? Okay, so next slide. Okay. So I'm gonna go into, and before I get started, I wanna just say this. All the trainings and programs that I'm gonna present to you tonight are all free of charge. So the grant money that we receive from SAMHSA allows us to bring those resources to the community free of charge to schools, the community, parents, and youth. So to start off, the first one is Adverse Childhood Experiences, or ACEs, and I'm sure that most of you know what that is, but for those of you that don't, It was a study done in the early 90s. It was the Kaiser Permanente and the CDC, and they linked childhood trauma to negative health outcomes into adulthood. So what we do, we offer an introduction to ACEs. So it's a basic, what is ACEs kind of training. And then the second one we offer is a train the trainer course. So if anyone in the community is interested in giving that presentation, that basic presentation, we offer that as well. And kind of cool, since the ATM meeting that we had, we already had a member of the community sign up for that. So we're excited about that. And then, so next is the 360 presentations. So these are all evidence-based practices. They're typically around an hour long, and we go into either a school, maybe for an assembly or a community setting, or even to parents, and we can give a presentation on prescription drugs and opioids. As most of you know, we have in Arizona right now, we also work with the Arizona Counter Drug Task Force, the civil operations for the National Guard, and they give us a lot of information, and we have a crisis happening around illegal opioids laced with fentanyl. So that RX 360 really talks about that and the dangers, and also the importance of locking up your medications. We do it on all the other substances as well. Okay, next slide. Okay, we also offer a Strengthening Families program, and this one is also evidence-based practice. This really focuses on strengthening the family unit. Ideally, it's for ages, children from 10 to 14 and their parents, and it's just a super great program. We've done this one for some of the probation kids and their families, and we serve them dinner. We have the parents do a session, the kids do a session, and then they come and do a family session together, and we all eat together, and it's a really, really great program. Now, next is the Youth Mental Health First Aid. So this training is really good for any youth-serving organization, especially schools. I mean, even for parents, if they want to be informed. So this is a 6-hour training that teaches individuals how to assist youth that are developing a mental illness or experiencing worsening symptoms of an existing mental health problem. Another thing that this does is, I'm talking fast, sorry. Another thing that this does is it helps you identify a crisis situation and a non-crisis situation, and then be able to de-escalate that crisis situation. Super great training as well. Next slide, please. So we also offer a Tobacco 101. That's just an overview of tobacco products, big tobacco's exploitation of youth, the harms and effect, and then also it has an advocacy piece for youth on the issue. The next one is a naloxone training and distribution. So I also work with a local coalition. Some of you may know it's called IATA. Recently we are a distribution site for naloxone through ADHS. So we're really excited. We can provide naloxone free to the community. And for those of you that don't know, naloxone is an overdose reversal medication for opioids. Okay? And then so the next piece is, I'm going to let Aggie talk about, we have some curriculums that we offer the youth. They're all social and emotional competent, along with being evidence-based practices.
We're excited to share that we're working with our administrative team to review the Too Good for Drugs Violence program to see how we can continue to support the efforts we already have in place, working with our local police department, with the NOVA program that they come in at 3 grade levels that we do, but looking at some of those other grade levels. Because sadly, as you are aware, the use of drugs in our society has increased, and exposure and access has increased. So making sure we're keeping that message strong and helping our kids to develop the right coping skills to make good choices and to be able to work through situations and not have a lifelong impact for those poor choices. So right now we're currently working with the police department. We're going to be working, Ricardo and I, together, sitting down, reviewing the curriculums to make sure those 2 programs align and support each other, and work with our administrative team to look at recommendations as we want to move forward, if that's what we want to do from a curricular perspective in our district at this time.
Thank you. Okay, next slide. And then this is my last slide, so I just wanted to include our website, easyYP.org, in case you guys want to go on, check out, and see who we are and what we do across the state and even here locally in Havasu in Mojave County. The Too Good for Drugs program, I also included that website. That's what Aggie was talking about, if you want to look more in depth on that. And then I also included Yada's website, and I wanted to do that for you because we recently put together a resource list, and it is really good. So it's actually a two-part resource list. The first one are like services like homelessness, counseling, food insecurity, things like that, resources that help. And then the second piece of the resource list is everything youth. So activities, sports, everything available in the community. So it's a super good tool, especially for parents or teachers or youth if they say, hey, I want to sign my child up for football, but I don't know the coach's name or number. It's all listed every sport. So we took a lot of time to do that. So hopefully you guys can use that as a resource. And then up in the upper right is my email. So if there is any of the programs or trainings that you guys saw tonight that you're interested in, please reach out. We really just want to be a resource to the community. And even if there was something maybe that you have in mind that you didn't see, still reach out because there might be something available or I could link you to that. So we are really, really excited, and I thank you so, so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Jamie, certifiable?
So Aggie's pulling up the presentation, and I have it in front of you, so you don't have to crane your necks either. I wanted to share with you information. Thank you. Want me to take the clicker? Or you want to? I'll see if I can drive and talk at the same time. I wanted to share with the board what we're working on in terms of certification, classroom-based certification for LHUSD. And so this is all of the teachers that are graduating from Arizona's educator prep programs, and this is a little bit dated. This is the last time they published it in 2018. And so when you look at that number and think about all of the teacher openings in Arizona, what you can see is all of the teacher educator prep programs, we are getting 1,392 people who are graduating with an elementary education certificate, 207 with an English cert, 116 with math, 8 with physics, 606 with a mild to moderate special education cert, 2 with severe and profound. And so Arizona is not producing enough teachers within Arizona to support the number of teaching positions. And I think those of you who have been around for a long time know that we used to go to other states to import teachers, but that really hasn't been a successful model either. We imported young teachers, and then we exported teachers who received our training as they wanted to go back home. And so this number has ticked up a little bit since 2018. There is now a Teacher Academy scholarship. Arizona has recognized the need to prepare more teachers, and so there are some more supports for those entering or wanting to enter the teaching profession, but we are still at very low numbers. So again, this number of a total of 3,300 teachers graduating from all educator prep programs, and realize some of these might be dual. So someone might get a mild to moderate cert and also very commonly will graduate with an elementary ed cert. So these might be the same folks as well. So the number was 3,300 in terms of graduates. And so again, these years don't line up perfectly, but as of July 2020, there were 7,485 teacher vacancies. And so we know that we're facing a severe teacher shortage. And so districts are doing a number of different things to deal with that shortage. They're using long-term subs. They're having teachers work on a 6/5 contract. They're taking their planning time. They're filling them with paraprofessionals. They're using emergency sub-certs, emergency certs. They're filling them with individuals with inappropriate certification, and then they're filling them with alternative certifications. That still leaves many vacancies out there. And one of the ways that we're filling vacancies is through alternative certificate programs. Alternative certification is a number of years old. It's 5 or 6 years old in Arizona. And basically, it allows for teachers who possess bachelor's degrees or individuals who have bachelor's degrees, not necessarily in the area of education, but they're able to earn their certificate at the same time that they're teaching in the classroom. So I might have a degree in history. I'm interested in teaching. I apply. A school hires me. I'm both learning to teach and teaching at the same time. The programs really started at the community college level. We saw Rio Salado was one of the first programs out there. A lot of the programs are very, very reputable. The community colleges, the universities have programs, but there are also other programs that we see people go to all the time. And these programs really vary in their pricing and quality. So these programs are popping up all of the time. And so now that they've really left the community college level, there's kind of these coursework type programs where they're not getting the same level of rigor that they were when it was within the community college. Again, understanding there's a severe teacher shortage, and we're looking for all sorts of ways to bring individuals who are interested in the teaching profession into the teaching profession. And so since 16-17, we've hired roughly around 10 teachers each year who have alternative certificates. Some of these certificates typically would be the type where they're coming in with a bachelor's degree and they're earning their certificate at the same time. There are a couple of these that are subject matter experts. These folks, these would have a content area and they would not go back to school. So they might have that physics degree and they're teaching at the secondary level. They're allowed to get a subject matter expert certificate. You can also see this year that we've increased the number of emergency certificates that we issued to fill the need. And so this year, we're working to support something new. In 2019, Arizona made some adjustments to ARS 15-553, and it allows the State Board of Education to grant school districts the authority to approve the certification for a teacher as a classroom-based preparation program provider. So rather than us sending teachers to these other places, we actually become the recommender of the certificate. And in order to do this, we would submit a program and a training schedule to be approved by the State Board of Education. We may partner with a third-party provider, such as the community college, to provide training. We would participate, or the teachers would participate in the program for 2 years. And the applicants must possess a bachelor's degree, fingerprint clearance card, and demonstrate professional and content knowledge. As of right now, there are 2 districts that participate in this. Vail Unified School District, which is in southern Arizona, just outside Tucson. They do this in partnership with Pima Community College. Washington Elementary School, they just began last year. They also participate in the classroom-based certificate, and they do this without any supports from a community college. So in order for Lake Havasu Unified School District to become the third district to participate in this program, we would work with, ADE would support us as we work with the State Board of Education. We would share the name of the program, our areas that we're requesting certification. We would make sure that we are verifying any ARS requirements as required by statute. We would share efficacy data, and then we would agree to biennial reporting. The teachers that participate in this, they would follow the requirements for certification. So these individuals would come to us with a bachelor's degree. They would successfully complete our board-approved, state board-approved classroom-based alternative prep program. We would verify satisfactory progress and achievement with students. They would demonstrate subject knowledge proficiency in a number of ways. They might be teaching 2 consecutive years at a post-secondary institution. They may have a bachelor's, master's, or doctoral degree at an accredited university in the applicable subject area. They may have a 5 years coursework or work experience in a subject area, or 3 years verified teaching experience in that area, or a passing score, which is the most likely way on the Arizona Teacher Proficiency Assessment, which is how many people earn their subject area proficiency. They would demonstrate professional knowledge, again, either 3 years, since they've only been in this program for 2 years, or a passing score on the professional knowledge part of the Arizona Teaching Proficiency Assessment. The individual seeking certification would also verify that they've taught for 2 years, their students' performance at the grade level, and then verify that their students achieved at least 1 year academic growth at a rate equivalent to the state's average for students associated in the peer groups, and then they would have to have a fingerprint clearance card. So I believe very much in the induction and mentoring program that we have at Lake Havasu Unified School District. I believe that our program that we have is amongst the strongest in the state. And although there are many quality alternative CERT programs that our teachers go to, I also believe that there is not the reason for them to go and give other people dollars for less quality. I know that we can do it better. And so our mission for this program would be to provide a pathway for professionals with 4-year degrees who do not possess standard certification to become a quality teacher and make a difference for LHUSD students. We would serve teaching candidates, parents, families, students by expanding the quality teacher workforce, developing appropriately certified teachers for every classroom. The way that our program would be structured, it's a 2-year program with an optional 3rd year focused on goal setting, professional reflection, and preparation for continuing teaching status. These teachers would receive 40 hours of training before the start of the school calendar. The teachers will learn about teaching and learning in LHUSD. They will participate in 7 after-school training sessions, which is 14 hours. They will learn the skills and dispositions required to be a successful teacher. In their 2nd year, they will participate in 7 after-school trainings, another 14 hours, to learn how to apply LHUSD initiatives to their practice. They will work with LHUSD mentor teachers. They will be assigned to a district-level coach and a site-based mentor. These mentors have all been highly trained and are skilled in coaching and mentoring with resources from the New Teacher Center and are guided using the INTAS standards. The other piece that's very important about our program is these teachers will go through 4 courses, 1 each semester at Mojave Community College within their first 2 years. So each semester there's coursework that they will do, and we'll partner with MCC to do that. They'll also receive job-embedded coaching and mentoring. We could not do this without the quality mentor and induction program that we have. We were able to develop this program because of a grant that was started 3 years ago that has really elevated the focus of our induction and mentoring program. And because of that, it's elevated the quality of our teaching. We can see, we can see evidence that as our teachers progress from their first year to the second year, we see more teachers leaving the developing category. This is teacher evaluations, and more teachers becoming effective and highly effective. And so we see them progressing in their skills. And so this will be one way that we look at program evaluation is through teacher evaluations. The next way, this is very small, the next way that we will look at program evaluation is through mentor and mentee data. Asking mentors and mentees, how is the program supporting you? And so we've done a lot of work asking, and these are questions specific to new teacher orientation. Based on what you learned, do you feel confident implementing our expectations for rules and delivery of consequences? So knowing that managing the classroom is very important for new teachers, are they feeling confident? Knowing content knowledge and using objectives and scaffolding. So are they feeling confident with the skills that we know support teachers? We will also use benchmark data from student achievement, right now, these are very small numbers. These are teachers that are in their first years. So these numbers really, although there's some gaps where the newer teachers were doing better than the other teachers, these many times just represent one teacher. So we would be looking at how our teachers are doing compared with the rest of the teachers and then compared with students across the state. So our next steps to do this will be to finalize the application with the help of the Arizona Department of Education. The ADE has really been our partners through this, and then we will file an application and present to the State Board of Education. This program, should it proceed, is not going to be a magic wand to fixing this. We still foresee, I was just speaking with Aggie about the importance of developing programs and expanding programs to support working with students with special needs. We work very strongly with our partners in the community, Northern Arizona University and Arizona State University, and we don't see that changing. There is just such the demand for teachers, and all of the different ways is how we will support closing the gap to ensuring that we have quality teachers for every single classroom in our schools. Are there any questions?
I wanted to thank you. It was a great presentation.
Thanks.
And that moves us to Article 4, which is the consent agenda, and I will entertain a motion on 4.1.
I move to adopt the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Kyle Niederman,
Yes.
Lisa Roman,
Yes.
Eric Oran,
Yes.
Roxanne Aliar,
Yes.
John Maston,
Yes. And that takes us to number 5 on our agenda. We're going to go back to Jamie.
Mr. President and Governing Board, it is recommended that the Governing Board approve the second presentation revisions of policies GCD, professional staff vacation and holidays, GCQEA, retirement of professional support staff members, GDDR, support staff vacation and holidays, and GDQB, resignation of support staff members. There have been no changes to this since the first reading.
If there's any discussion on it, let it start now.
I'll make a motion that we adopt 5.1 as presented.
I'll second that.
would you like to ask for discussion again?
Is there any extra discussion? We've got time. I think we're ready to vote.
Eric Moran,
Yes.
Tatiana Aliar,
Yes.
Kyle Niederman,
Yes.
Lisa Roman,
Yes.
John Maston,
Yes. And that takes us to agenda item number 6.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is recommended that the governing board approve the expansion of the core knowledge curriculum for language arts, science, and social studies to Thunderbolt Middle School. The initial purchase amount for ELA science and social studies teacher and student materials is not to exceed $295,000 from capital and/or other approved funds. The annual amount is not to exceed $30,000. In December 2018, the governing board approved the core knowledge curriculum to be used as part of the Oro Grande Classical Academy. Core knowledge curriculum is intended to provide a coherent, content-specific foundation of learning for all students. The curriculum builds on knowledge from year to year, preventing repetitions and gaps in instruction. Every LHUSD student deserves access to a guaranteed and viable curriculum. This expansion of the core knowledge curriculum allows all middle school students access to the same curriculum materials. This expansion allows teachers to devote their time to creatively planning how to teach the content, which will become the focus of department and articulation planning meetings. This will also support our work in developing meaningful professional development with a common resource. The district provided information about core knowledge to the administration and teachers, which included access to the materials already in use at Oro Grande Classical Academy. After review of the presentations and materials, we surveyed 26 teachers and received 24 responses. Out of the 24 who responded, 96% said yes to expanding the core knowledge curriculum for language arts, science, and social studies to Thunderbolt Middle School. A parent question and answer session was held via Zoom to gather input prior to moving forward. A handful of parents attended the session and provided positive feedback about the expansion. Expansion of this curriculum will support our mission to provide an aligned and guaranteed curriculum for every student. The materials will be purchased through the Core Knowledge Foundation and amplified to support the work of our teachers and the necessary training for implementation over the course of the second semester. This item has been approved by the Business Department.
I would move that we approve 6.1 as presented.
I second.
Do we have any discussion?
I'll jump in. I was able to attend the Zoom meeting that was hosted by our superintendent and Mrs. Stotner and Mrs. Bitterman and Mrs. Black and Mrs. Olson. And one of the best things that I heard that night was they were talking about science labs, which I think our board has discussed that a little bit in the past, but maybe not this panel. Science labs have been something that have been, to me, very lacking in our schools, especially amongst the younger grades. I think the sooner that you can get kids doing hands-on experiments and learning how to write lab reports and learning the methodology of science, the better. And so I was really excited to hear that not only is there a science curriculum, but that it also includes labs and the resources and materials that are needed for teachers to teach those labs. And so, again, that was the best thing I heard that night. Another point that was raised during that Zoom meeting that I thought was very valuable information is we have recently expanded this core knowledge program for all of our elementary schools. So that's going to take some of the pressure off of our middle school as students come in from the 6 different elementaries. They're not going to have to spend so much time evaluating which students learned what at which school. It's going to be a lot more unified. And I would be excited for the middle school to be able to sort of hit their ground running at the beginning of the year with, a very cohesive, streamlined curriculum program. So I am in favor of this. It has broad support amongst the teachers, as our superintendent mentioned. And so, yes, I do support this program.
That was stated very well. I just want to add my support to that. Curriculum is kind of like the skeletal structure of the district in the education, something that I think has been lacking in the past. This is going to help our students have opportunities and allow the instruction to be better. It's going to be competitive with some of the best schools in the state, not just in the area, which we already do well. So I'm for this going forward.
Archiana Aliyar,
Yes.
Kyle Niederman,
Yes.
Lisa Roman,
Yes.
Eric Haran,
Yes.
John Maston,
Absolutely, yes. Back to you.
Back to me. Mr. President, members of the Governing Board, it is recommended that the Governing Board approve the dates listed for regularly scheduled Governing Board meetings for the 2021-2022 school year. All of the dates are the third Tuesday of each month, which adheres to district policy, except for December 14th due to winter break, March 8th due to spring break, and July and May changes are due to state-mandated budget deadlines. As required by law, a notice of our regular meeting dates and posting locations are sent in January to the Mojave County Supervisor's Clerk. When special meetings and work sessions are needed, the same procedures for posting regularly scheduled meetings will be followed.
I move that we approve 6-2 as presented.
I second.
Kyle Niederman,
Yes.
Lisa Roman,
Yes.
Eric Haran,
Yes.
Archiana Aliyar,
Yes.
John Maston,
Yes. Mr. Murray, next one's yours.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. It's recommended the board approve vouchers for February of 2021, as well as student activity and auxiliary funds for January 2021.
I move we accept item 6.3 as stated.
I'll second.
Any discussion on that?
Lisa Roman,
Yes.
Eric Haran,
Yes.
Archiana Aliyar,
Yes.
Kyle Niederman,
Yes.
John Maston,
Yes. And now to agenda item 7, informational superintendent.
Thank you. I would just like to wish everyone a wonderful spring break. I hope everyone has a chance to take some time off and just spend some time with family or friends or however they choose to spend that, but really just taking time away from work. And I'm very excited that we will be fully opening our middle and high school when we return. Kind of the key piece there were questions about how did we make that decision, what were we looking at? Our health department was the key in that. And talking to them about where they felt we were with benchmarks, with vaccines being available for staff members. I checked in with them multiple times. We've kind of talked with them a lot this year. And I checked one more time before we kind of made that final announcement to the parents. And they are in full support of us opening and are ready to stand behind us with anything we may need moving forward, should that become necessary. So I just appreciate their support and am very excited to have that happening soon.
I wanted to just congratulate the school district in getting this going. What was it, 4 days before the governor mandated it? So we beat the governor, so that's great.
That's how it always works in Arizona. Okay. Any informational from any of the directors? That'll go down to the governing board members next. Advisory committees. Then I think we're done with item 7. And item 8 is call to public. Do we have any? No call to public? And then I've got communication. We've got a April 13th meeting coming up. And that's going to be back here because we're good in here. And last but not least, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any discussion on that?
No.
I was waiting for that to happen.
Lisa Roman,
Yes.
Eric Haran,
Yes.
Archiana Aliyar,
Yes.
Kyle Niederman,
Yes.
John Maston.
Yes. And with that, we are now adjourned.